If you're learning about cloud, you need to know about cybersecurity. And if you're learning about cybersecurity, you need to know a little bit about cloud. I'm JB, this is CyberInsight, and today we're going to be doing a mashup of both of those with a new lab covering how to use Splunk to monitor AWS events. So I'm going to spin up my browser over here. We're going to hop into that. But first, do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Turn on notifications and share the video with friends. I appreciate all that. It helps out quite a bit. It really does matter. So let's get into this, and should be pretty fun. Now, if you remember, I think it was a couple weeks ago, we actually started this room initially. This is the Splunk 3 room based off of the Boss of the SOC version 3 set of information. So if you missed out on that, you can go check out the first part that we did. I have a playlist, Splunk Cyber Analysis Labs, and you can go check out part 1, which is right up here, or a whole bunch of other Splunk lab tutorials if you're just starting to learn about Splunk. So same thing as what we did the other day. We kick this off. There's a active machine that we need to turn on and the attack box. I've already done that. Already have it spun up over here, and I already have Splunk already up and running. If you need to get into that, there's a URL here that you can grab. It's going to be unique for your own IP address for your own lab environment once you actually hit the start machine on this. And then once you're ready to go with that, we are actually going to be moving down to task number 5, which is more AWS events. And we are going to hop into this. Now, one thing that we did before that was kind of helpful, just to kind of give us a little bit of the lay of the land, was this command here, which gives us a stats count where we're looking within this particular index. So this is where kind of all the different log events are stored. That's within that, and then it's going to break it out by source type. So when we do that, what it does is it shows us all the different source types of information of different types of logs that are coming into Splunk. Also gives us a count over here on the right-hand side so we can kind of see which ones have a lot of logs. This is kind of a good place to start when we're looking through these questions and we aren't necessarily sure where we want to go to identify information to answer some of these questions. So it's just kind of a good jumping off point to kind of see all the different types of logs that are coming in to Splunk that we have access to. So as always, as we move through this, if you have any questions or comments, please throw those in the chat window and we will hit those up. And let's just kind of see what we have going on here. So we're going to return to focus on AWS related events with some focusing on email related activity. And this is continuing to come out of the series 200 questions of the Boss of the SOC version 3 dataset. So if you remember the other video, we have these different questions that are down here. We can just start with these. If we kind of get stuck, sometimes here they give us a little bit of help, a little bit of background information, some links we can go click on, but I think we should just jump into it and kind of see where we can go from here. So it says, what IAM user access key generates the most distinct errors when attempting to access IAM resources? So if you remember previously, a lot of kind of the background stuff that happens within AWS, especially when it comes to accessing resources and things like that, normally are going to fall under the Cloudtrail logs. So I think that's probably going to be a pretty good spot to start from. So we can kind of just find Cloudtrail here, AWS Cloudtrail. We can click into that, and we're just going to hit this little button here to pop out a new search window. All right, we make sure that the time value over here is all time. So if you remember when we were kind of looking through this before, we have all these different interesting fields over here, and this is kind of nice because we can click into these, and then normally give us kind of like the top 10 different types of values that might pop up under these different types of fields. And that definitely helps when it comes to identifying different things that we're looking for. So we were looking for IAM user access key generates the most distinct errors when attempting to access IAM resources. So we can look at maybe event types. So maybe Cloudtrail errors, maybe. Let's click on that. That will do that. And maybe we can even do a little asterisk and go IAM, maybe. So this is going to be related to things about accounts and privileges. So now we've narrowed it down a little bit. That's down to about 1,000 events. Let's see if we can see anything about user. Okay, so we got user access keys. A whole bunch of user access keys. User identity. Usernames. Okay, so we kind of see, got this web admin here who has an awful lot of different counts. I mean, as far as like the high count here. So we could maybe click on that, user identity web admin, see if we find any keys that might be coming up with this here. Let's see what the error codes are. Client instance limit exceeded, unauthorized operation, access denied. Let's see if there is keys under here. So we have two different keys that are coming up here. Let's see. We don't necessarily know. This one has a lot of a larger count, but I think the particular question was attempting to access IAM resources. So let's see if there is any other particular event types. Account change, IAM changes, IAM events. If there's any other way we can kind of dig down into IAM. Okay, right here. So we can go under event source. We can kind of make that a little bit more drilled down into here, since that's what we really care about is IAM resources. Now let's go back down here and see access key ID, and there's only one here. So this might be the answer that we're looking for. Let's go give this a try. Cool. All right. Now let's just see if they give us any other information up here. So tasked with identifying IAM user access key that generates the most distinct errors when attempting to access IAM resource. They got some other links here if you're interested kind of in digging in a little bit more into the Cloudtrail, different types of events. But I think that, you know, pretty decent here. We just looked at going into Cloudtrail, looking at different types of the users themselves, and which one kind of had the most stuff going on, and then drilling down a little bit more into IAM specific types of events, and then from there we were able to find the correct access key. All right, now we're back to Bud. Remember him? He was in the other group of questions that we did. Bud accidentally commits AWS access keys to an external code repository. Shortly after, he receives a notification from AWS that the account had been compromised. What is the support case ID that Amazon opens on his behalf? So he put something somewhere. AWS was doing some scanning, I guess, looking for different types of things. And I would say notification probably means email. So we could probably search on maybe email traffic. If you remember before, there's a few different ways that we could go about doing that, but the stream stuff kind of was helpful before. So stream is going to capture, and that pretty much what it sounds like, the stream of data for different types of protocols. So if we wanted to see like web traffic, we could probably capture that in the HTTP stream. In this case, though, we're talking about SMTP for email. So we should be able to do this, pop open a new search. Now there's a few things that we know that we could kind of look for here. So we know that it's an email that's going to mention something about AWS. So we could search for AWS as a string. We know that the email was to Bud. And I think from the previous room not previous room, but the previous tasks, we know that his account was bstole. If we didn't know that, we could still kind of poke around in here and end up finding his name and figuring out what his username was. But definitely something that we could dig down those. I'm trying to see if there's anything else in here. We could do receiver email. So we know that that's his name here, bstole. So we could click on that. We could choose that. Sender, let's see if there is a sender server, sender agent. Yeah, there's not necessarily something else that might help there. So let's do that since we kind of already know his name. And there's only going to be 4 events. And so let's see what we got. We can kind of go through this. We could look at the particular content body. And nothing really jumped out there. Let's see. Content body. Nothing jumping out there. Now the other thing we could do is we could search for AWS. Let's see. And that might be something that we're going to do, because maybe the email that it was going to wasn't necessarily his particular email address. Maybe it was another email address and it just got provided to him. So let's go back up to the top. Let's just see if we go AWS. And see if there's anything else that would kind of, so there's like what, 33 emails there. I mean, we could definitely, so this is from Amazon AWS, but that just might be not something that matters as much. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else could we kind of search on? So it said external code repository. We could definitely search on some of those, like GitHub is one, pretty popular. So maybe we could do that. We'll see if we come up with anything with that. That might help. I'm sure there's some other keywords that are in those AWS alert emails that we, might be able to go on, but let's just go GitHub. All right, so got 3 things that match on this. And let's see what this is. Okay, here we go. Amazon Web Services opened a case on your behalf. Your AWS account is compromised. Your security is important to us. We become aware that AWS access key this, which was the key that we saw that was attempting to do all those IAM actions and was kind of popping up with all those errors, and belonged to web admin, along with a corresponding secret key, because you need both of those to be able to do what you want to do as far as accessing things with the API, is publicly online at oh no, at their Frothy Beers GitHub page. So yeah, not so hot. So let's go ahead and we can take this and see if this is the answer for this next question. There's a space there. Let's try that now. No? What is the support case ID that Amazon opens on his behalf? Oh, yeah, I copied the account ID instead of the support or the case ID. So let's try that. Let's do that. There we go. Perfect. All right. AWS Access consists of two parts, an access key ID and a secret access key. What is the secret access key of the key that was leaked to the external code repository? So we already have a link for that here in this email. So it's going to be under my documents, AWS_credentials.back. So let's take this, give this a try. Let's see what we get. Uh-oh, there we go. Bud stole. I know how to use Git. Apparently not. So we have the access key ID and the secret access key, and this is what we want right here. So we can go ahead, take this, and we can move this back over. Let's see, nope. There we go. Okay. Using the leaked key, the adversary makes an unauthorized attempt to create a key for a specific resource. What is the name of the resource? Answer guidance, one word. Okay, so with the secret key and the access key, which are associated with that web admin account, they're going to attempt to make an unauthorized attempt to create a key for a specific resource. So again, that I believe should be going back under IAM. It is what that's going to be doing that under. So we could probably take this. Let's just see. We could probably search on this again. And we could go under Cloudtrail, search for this access key. Let's see what we got. Cloudtrail. We should be able to go like this. Let's see. Okay. And I think we're going to be looking for stuff related to IAM, if I remember correctly. Event type. IAM events. IAM change. account management errors. A whole bunch of different things we can kind of pick from there. Change type. Here we go. Okay, so let's go change type. That's going to be under IAM. So that should help kind of narrow it down a little bit. Update access key. Access denied. And what else did we have here? List access keys on a resource. Create access key on resource. So that's a pretty close thing, I think, to what they were asking. Attempted to create a key for a specific resource. What is the name of that resource? And it's going to be one word. So that looks like it's user null web underscore admin. Let's see. Give that a try. Cool. All right, and the last one here, using the leaked key, the adversary makes an unauthorized attempt to describe an account. What is the full user string of the application that originated the request? So trying to find out information about an IAM account. So it should still be underneath this group of IAM stuff, I believe. And let's just look at actions, create, modify, unknown. Let's see, error message, list keys, create access key, create user, delete access key, get user. Okay, so they're trying to get information on the user web admin. So let's click on that and see. The question was, what was a full user agent string of the application that originated that? So normally different applications or browsers are going to have a user agent string, which kind of self-identifies, and then based off of that, sometimes other applications might modify the way that they present information. So in this case, user agent is electric wolf /5.1.6. And I think that should be good. All right, so that was it. Not too bad. We covered a bunch more AWS stuff here. Got to do some stuff with IAM users and different actions. Found one that had been compromised. Ended up finding out it was compromised because Bud ended up uploading the secret keys to GitHub. Did a little bit of work as far as identifying that, and then based off of that information, we're able to kind of go back and see what else that compromised account had tried to do as far as getting information on different accounts, trying to create a new account, trying to get a key created for that account. And we saw a lot of errors as far as not being able to do that. So that means that that particular account and the permissions that it had must have been somewhat locked down to the point where somebody who could compromise it isn't able to do a whole bunch of other stuff within the AWS environment, or at least not the things that they want to do. So I think this about wraps up everything that we were going to be doing today. I appreciate it. Hopefully this was interesting. If you want to do some more in either this particular Splunk room or some other Splunk rooms and more AWS stuff, just let me know. Leave me a comment down below. Again, appreciate it if you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video, all that other good stuff. Go get at it. Have a great week, and we will talk soon. All right, bye.